Welcome to the Big C Show. It's your boy Big C's. I am here. We're doing a special live episode with about a week away almost to BKFC's Ice Wars. First one in South Florida. And we have such an awesome main event with Nick Laporte, Laporta, and we have none other than MMA fighter Charles, and Ian. They're so awesome. Great to meet those guys. And I just want to, before I start rambling, I'm kind of starstruck right now because this is so great. And it's so awesome to have them be part of the event down here in South Florida. But without further ado, let's meet the gang here. Gentlemen, welcome to the Big C Show. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to be on, brother. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, doing good.
Awesome. You guys must be so stoked. It must be going crazy with all the publicity you guys are doing. Talk about how I'm gonna go with Nick. How did you get involved in? I know you've been playing hockey with your brother, and your brother's fighting as well, right?
Yeah, he's fighting too. Yep.
Awesome. Talk about how this came about. How did you get involved in this BKC BKFC Ice Wars? Bare knuckles.
Yeah, so Will and I were in talks with AJ a few years ago before the partnership with BKFC. We were trying to get ourselves set up for one of the fights, and just the timing didn't work out. So then I ended up on Shoresy, of course, and John Morasti being the matchmaker, kind of asked if I was interested in doing it. I more or less asked him, but he was able to pull some strings and get Will and I in that first event in Michigan, and yeah, the rest is history. Here we are.
Awesome. Ian, and how did you get involved being a former MMA fighter? How did you get involved with this? How did this all become about?
So I actually commentated on one of the shows before the partnership with BKFC in Wyoming, and I just commentated. It was, in the back of a bar, very low quality production. But the one thing that really stuck with me was the fights. I was like, whoa, these fights are action packed. And there is some serious technique that I never even knew of fighting on ice. And I was like,
Right?
this is something special. And as Charlie had a big health scare. He went under open heart surgery. Just stayed in touch with him, and then the whole partnership came together. And me and him stayed in touch. And he's like, I know hockey really well. Fighting really good. And it was just a perfect timing and a way to keep me connected to combat sports. And so I stepped in the role as president.
So how did this all become about, Charles, Rosa? And how did you get involved in this? Is this something I know you're passionate about fighting in the MMA for a long time, and you know, are you a big hockey fan as well?
Yeah, I mean, these are my two favorite things, fighting and hockey, man. And you bring them together and you take the best part of hockey, the hockey fights. I mean, you can ask any fan that comes to an event, what's the best part of a hockey game? You just pray that a fight breaks out. And man, this is all action-packed fights. And I had a 10-year UFC career, amazing career.
Yeah.
Multiple fight of the night, fight of the year, fights in the UFC. Made had a great career. Still in good contact with the UFC. But as you get older, they want to fight you less and less. And I want to, I want to be fighting often, man. I want to be, active. I don't want to fight once a year, and that's kind of what the UFC's come to. It's a great platform, but it's a great platform for 1 or 2 fights a year. So I want to stay active, and this was the next best thing, man. Like I said, took my two favorite things, hockey and fighting, and we brought them together. Got in touch with Ian. I saw he was the president. I knew he was a great guy for the job. And I'm like, man, this thing could really work, especially with someone like Ian behind it. And I didn't
Yeah.
know Charlie at the time, but I met him, man. And wow, he's an extraordinary human being. And I think that this thing's really going to take off. And especially throwing this big first event October 10th, it's gonna skyrocket. And sky's the limit.
Right? And what a better way to start it off here in Florida, South
Yeah.
Florida, where the Florida Panthers win back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Um, Talk about how this is gonna be the pillar to BKFC Ice Wars. We'll go with Ian.
This is huge, man. I mean, Nick's come out and put on one of the best performances we've seen with BKFC Ice Wars. And, he wanted to fight somebody tougher. Like, we offered him a couple guys. He said, find the baddest dude. So John Morasti hit up one of his old boys who has 400 plus hockey brawls. And this is a great test for Nick. And this is just the most stacked card. This is the biggest arena. We're literally at the Florida Panthers Stadium, the two-time Stanley Cup champions. You couldn't ask for a better place for the first time in history to have sanctioned bare knuckle hockey fights on real ice. The past two fights, it was finding our groove, finding a team, finding potential stars in the organization. And we had to fight on synthetic ice because we were in casinos because we weren't able to be sanctioned yet. And the casinos obviously don't have ice arenas. And then we had gloves as well because we were doing some innovation. Now gloves are off. The fans are excited. We're on real ice. And we have the most stacked card, bringing Charles Rosa on, a UFC veteran for the first time ever. We have a UFC veteran facing a tough hockey enforcer. We have a women's fight. We have Nick's brother, Will, fighting Anthony Mendoza, who is a signed BKFC fighter. So if you're a fight fan, if you are a hockey fan, this is one of the fights that you don't want to miss because this is, in my opinion, like UFC 1. We have boxers, MMA fighters, hockey enforcers, young rising stars, and it's going to be something special next Friday, October 10th. So if you're in the area or near, I highly recommend you get tickets because this is like going to UFC 1 where you're going to see a new sport explode. We got a shout out from Joe Rogan the other day. People are going crazy. I just text Charlie to see if I could tell you guys who just booked the table because this is A-list celebrity stuff. And if he texts me back, I'll drop that news live right now. But
that'll be badass.
This is exciting stuff, guys. And as Charles knows, like the Florida Panthers Arena, this is where the UFC is fought. This is a real arena. This is a real show. And, now it's just getting the word out there. And I think when people see this product, not only is it going to go viral, but you're going to have everybody and their mother wanting to fight on it. And it's going to blow up in the media.
I think it is. Nick, talk about how fighting on the ice, and you were talking a little bit off before when we got on air, how you got kicked out of playing hockey and, your passion for just being on the ice. And now you get to combine it with fighting the biggest badass ass motherfucker ever. Like, how does that feel? Are you like, your adrenaline must be going off the roof right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you want to keep in check. Obviously, if you got, 10 or 11 weeks notice of a fight, you're going to be thinking about it quite a bit. So just keeping that in check. But I mean, Charles and Ian can both attest to that. Like, it's something, you're probably thinking about around the clock no matter what. So it fuels you for your training. And like I said, we're on a huge stage and I'm just looking forward to throwing down October 10th and giving everybody the main event they deserve.
That's awesome. Is there any techniques that you have to worry about? Because is your opponent a hockey player as well?
Yeah, he's been fighting for I think he played with Sidney Crosby as his protector back in 04, I think in the Q. And then ever since he's been fighting in that LNAH French fighting league. So he's very experienced. He's seen it all. He's fought all kinds of different guys, short, tall, fat, skinny. Yeah, so I don't think anything that I'm going to do is really necessarily going to surprise him. So I've got to fight a technical fight rather than being wide open on this one. So I've been working on a few things. I'll be ready to go.
Awesome. And Charles, you're also fighting as well. So what do you got to do to prepare to be, obviously being an MMA fighter? Are you good with skates? Have you skated before? Have you played ice hockey?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I played my first hockey game about a month ago. It was my first time playing a full hockey game since for 20 years. I played from when I was 3 years old until I was 21 years old. I played in college hockey.
Nice.
I played high school. I played youth hockey. Went to tournaments all over the United States, even to Canada. That was my life, was hockey when I was a kid. I wanted to be an NHL player, and I actually wanted to be an NHL enforcer. Life happens, things happen in life. And I ended up, in South Florida working as a chef, and I, somehow came across what I thought was a boxing gym. I just wanted to pick up a new hobby because hockey was over. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I walked into a mixed martial arts gym and actually met Kimbo Slice in the gym. And man, that day that I met him, like, it just motivated me and it gave me a fire that, man, this is what I want to do. I want to be a professional fighter. And I trained every single day until, long story short, obviously, like, got a call from the UFC. Fought 10 years in the UFC. One thing that you were mentioning, the arena, the Florida Panthers arena, how amazing it is. I have one thing I pride myself on in the UFC. One of my cool records is I have the most all-time wins at the in Boston at TD Garden, above Conor McGregor and above a couple other big names in the UFC. So I have the most all-time wins in Boston. I've never lost in my hometown, and that's something that I hope in the future we can do. Is bring BKFC Ice Wars to the Boston Garden where the Bruins and the championship Celtics team play. And that's what I'm saying. The sky is the limit. When I saw that they booked this venue, I knew we're doing something special. It really changed my feeling and my enthusiasm for the sport. We're in the biggest venue in the planet right now, the home of the defending Stanley Cup champions, and we get to put on the fights and defend their home turf. And this one's on ice. So for me, this is the first ever historical Ice Wars BKFC event on ice. And you guys get to witness it October 10th.
Wow, that's awesome. So you guys are actually going to be with AJ Greer on Saturday, right? Former Florida Panthers Stanley Cup champion. I had a pleasure to meet him at Club 11. Got waterboarded with the Stanley Cup, hanging out with them. Such an awesome experience. Talk about the event this Saturday that you guys are going to host with AJ Greer here.
Yeah, so that's on Friday. It is going to be at our official after party at McSorley's in Fort Lauderdale. So if anyone wants to come check that out, we're going to be announcing that soon. But weigh-ins are going to also be there. But we're doing a meet and greet. Me and Charles and AJ are going to be there and just meeting some of the fans and just hanging out. So if you guys are in the Fort Lauderdale area, McSorley's in Fort Lauderdale, right on the beach, beautiful location. And it's fun, man, because the Florida Panther boys, they love this. They love it. We got a major section of these guys coming as well because and that's the thing too. Like, people don't even realize what this is yet. Like, there's a lot of people who've heard about it, but now they're going to get to see it with a stock card that we have with this many good fighters and at the Florida Panther Stadium. So you're having all walks of life, and we are tapping into a whole new industry for combat sports. We're tapping into the hockey fans, and we have a lot of the hockey fans coming over. So if you're a hockey fan and you go to the hockey games and you see a fight and you love that, well, you're going to absolutely love coming to the event on October 10th, because you're going to have 3 1-minute rounds of pure action, pure fights, all different body sizes, all different disciplines, people, and even a women's fight for the first time ever. So we're even going to have our ring girl on skates. So
no way.
Okay. Yeah. So this is like something that has not been seen before. It's a new sport. And I think we're going to see some rising stars in this sport. And I think 2 of them are on this show right now.
That's awesome. Nick, you're also fighting with your brother's fighting in this event too. Talk about how that is you get to do this with your brother, and not many people get to do it with their siblings. Talk about how that's such a special moment for both of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, picture your best friend in the whole world, and you get to go and do this kind of stuff with them. Hopefully 4 or 5 times a year. So it's a great feeling having him there. And like I said, we got to corner each other for the first event, and then he fought in Edmonton for the second event. I was able to corner him for that too. So it's just electric when you have your twin brother in your corner, and I honestly can't see myself losing with him in the building ever. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
they're
great.
They're like the Diaz brothers of Ice Wars.
Fucking right. Literally, that's it.
Oh, shit. Nice. That's so awesome.
And it's very rare. I think we looked at the statistics. It's been very, I don't even know if it's maybe once or twice before where you have twin brothers fighting on the same card and both of them winning. So
maybe we should get the Bash brothers on their nameplates for this event. No, that's freaking awesome, man. That's great. So Charles, talk about your event. Like, is this your first fight in this bare knuckles fight, Ice Wars?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first sanctioned hockey fight. So, before I fought in the UFC, before I won a MMA world title, I had multiple street fights. So, you can look at those street fights growing up as a kid as hockey fights in the league. When I'm playing youth hockey, a kid, cross checks you from behind or hits your boy, you get in a big fight. We've had bench clearing brawls in, Montpelier and Vermont. I remember one time we had the benches clear. So I've been in multiple, probably, I would say, dozens of hockey fights, no doubt about it. I've even met kids after the game and met them off the ice, and fought them. But those aren't sanctioned. Those aren't with referees. Those aren't with training camps. This is my first time at a sanctioned hockey fight event, and man, I'm so happy to do it. And just like I approached my UFC career and my MMA career, when I find something and I want to be good at it, what do? You call the best people. You find the people that are best at it, and you have them train you. So I didn't act like I'm a tough guy. I'm just gonna put some skates on and go knock this kid out. Well, no, I went and I found the best coaches in the world. I hit up Sean Thornton, who's a legendary, Stanley Cup champion,
Yep.
also enforcer for the Boston Bruins, my favorite hockey team. And I hit him up, man, and was able to get in contact with him. He came to the gym, showed me some of his best techniques. Milan Lucic, unfortunately, he doesn't live in the area, but he's connected me with some of his good coaches. So, I hit up the toughest guys I know, the guys that are the best at it, and I had them lead me in the right direction. It's the same thing I did with martial arts. Like, you want to be good at Muay Thai, you go to Thailand, you find the best Muay Thai coach. You want to be good at wrestling, you find an Olympic wrestler. Well, that's what I did. I found the best hockey fighting coach, Sean Thornton, and I had to be able to work with him. And man, like, I've been on the ice every single day. I also got my hockey NHL skating coach, Alex Roth. He'll be in my corner for this fight. He's the one who books the ice for me every morning. And man, he's a tough kid. He's even laced him up with me a couple times. We got to throw some leather. So, man, this is what I love. Like, I love fucking hockey and I love fighting. And this is a dream come true. Like I said, my dream as a little kid was to be an enforcer for the Boston Bruins. My first UFC win, I walked out to the Boston Garden. I was wearing a Boston Bruins jersey with my name on the back. That was my dream. But now I get to sometimes real life even surpasses your dreams. I get to actually go on the Stanley Cup champions home ice, and I get to walk out with my rose on the back of my shirt and be able to defend the turf. And it's a really special. It's going to be a really special night. So I can't wait to see for you guys to see this new sport and wait to blow it up and be a star in the sport.
No, for sure. And Nick, what have you done to prepare for this event? Any particular fighters, any hockey players that you've gone and got some advice for?
Yeah, so there's a guy in my hometown here in North Bay, Jonathan Tremblay, who actually fought. I think he was drafted in the same draft as Pavelski and Zetterberg. He actually went ahead of them, so he's been a huge help for me. I'm on the ice with him again tonight and probably tomorrow night. So he's relatively, I think he's 6'3", 250, so close to what I'm going to be seeing in my opponent. And yeah, we've just been going over a lot of technical stuff. I was also out west training with my brother and Colton Hayes. We got a ton of work in, 2 weeks on the ice every day, just getting everything ready to go. So yeah, aside from that, just the usual stuff, staying in the gym, doing my hill work, speed work, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm feeling good for this one.
Awesome. Have you been to South Florida before?
I went there to BKFC 78 with Ian and Charlie just to check out my first BKFC event. And that was my first time there. It was just a quick hitter. I was in and out a couple of days. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back.
Hopefully you do that with your opponent, right?
Oh, there's no hopefully, buddy. It's going down.
Let's go. Let's go. Awesome. Ian, and where can people find this event? Where can they buy tickets?
Yeah, so if you go to bkfciw.com, you are able to see everywhere that it's streaming live, as well as buy your tickets. You can go to the Amerant Arena Instagram, click on the link there, go to the event. They're selling tickets there. You can even DM me on Instagram if you're trying to get tables or anything like that.
And then there's SeatGeek too.
SeatGeek, yep.
Yeah, SeatGeek. So yeah, and follow BKFC Iced on Instagram. We're putting out a ton of good content right now, and the page is blowing up. And yeah, I mean, if you can't make it, we're streaming on Fubo, Fight Canada, on Triller, BKFC app. We're streaming 7 platforms worldwide, and you can find all of that on bkfciw.com. And then, guys, if you're in the area, it's a no-brainer. Don't miss this historic event. You're going to be able to say, I was at Ice Wars 1. I know it's not our first one, but it's officially the first one where we're sanctioned where bare knuckles and it's on real ice, and you have a stacked card that we have never seen in Ice Wars history. Amazing main event, co-main event from the top to the bottom. This card is stacked. So make it, enjoy it. And we'll see you guys at the top, because this thing is about to blow up. And I think we have some major stars that are going to shine on October 10th.
That's awesome. And talk a little bit about the women. This is going to be the first women's fight in history, right? BKFC Ice Wars.
Yeah. So we have, like the UFC. You look what Ronda Rousey did for the sport. There is a spot for a woman to be a star in BKFC Ice Wars. It's such a unique thing, and we've never had women on a card. So these two ladies have stepped up. They're both tough. One's a pro boxer. They're both hockey players. They both have hockey fights. They're tough girls. I think they're going to put on a great show. And it's just we're taking a playbook that works. We've seen what works with the UFC. We've seen what worked with BKFC, and there's a place here for stars to emerge as this company blows up. And with BKFC leading the way with us, with sanctioning, taking their playbook with their production team, it's just going to fast track this, especially it being so unique and niche in the sport, but also catering to a massive audience, which is hockey, that doesn't usually come over to the combat sports as much. So this is grabbing a massive audience: hockey, MMA, BKFC, all of it.
That's awesome. And what a great way to, we have a new Jumbotron. So what a great way to come to the Amerant Arena, watch it in person on our new Jumbotron. It's going to be, the atmosphere, I think it's going to be electric. So I honestly can't wait. Charles, talk about you. I know you're a big Boston boy. How did you feel when he got traded to the Florida Panthers?
Marchand?
Yeah, Brad Marchand.
Oh, dude. Well, Brad Marchand is my boy, dude. Actually, the crazy thing is, the way I met Brad Marchand and became friends with him was my first UFC win ever, the one that I walked out. I walked out with a Boston Bruins jersey on. That was the time before the Reebok deal and before the big Venom deal, when you could wear whatever you wanted. You could walk out in anything that you wanted. You could put your sponsors, everything on your clothes. I said, man, I'm fighting in Boston at the Garden, where I used to sit in the nosebleeds and watch the Boston Bruins play. I'm walking out in a Boston Bruins jersey with my name on the back. I'm making my childhood dream come true. I walked out, won that fight, finished the guy in the third round. Also it was a huge fight, man. It was, sold out Boston Garden. I think Conor McGregor was the main event. Incredible night. I ended up getting a Performance of the Night award too. But one of the coolest things at the end of the event, besides being awesome, getting my first UFC win, I looked at my Twitter and got a message from Brad Marchand saying, "Hey man, awesome fight. Like, love to have you come out." And I was able to come to a bunch of his games, sat glass a bunch of times, watched him play, got in the locker room that him and Zdeno Chara got to in the locker room, talk to the guys and stuff, man. And it was just the ultimate dream come true. And it wasn't until recently, obviously, it was last year, that we saw him coming over to Florida. So, a lot of people say that to me, like, "Oh man, where are you from, Boston or Florida?" Well, man, I was born and raised in Boston. That's my blood. That's my DNA. That's what raised me. That's who made me who I am. But now that I live in Florida, man, this is, where I became a star and where I made my life great. So it's really cool to see this thing come full circle, to get my, all my wins in Boston where I grew up, but now to come full circle and finish out my career, in the place that made me a superstar and made me a star. And, I'm honored to do it. I'm honored to do it for BKFC. And I really believe that these guys have the blueprint for success. They've done it. Feldman has done it with BKFC, the bare knuckle fights, and Charlie and Ian, man, they're on point with this. And they booked the best arena in the world. And we get to fight, me and Nick get to fight at it and become stars and knock these guys out October 10th.
Wow, that's awesome. I can't wait to see both of you. And hopefully Brad Marchand is there to support you.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna send him a message today. I know he got his games coming up and stuff. I was figuring I would see him. I think we're gonna go to the Flyers game the night before. So
yeah, tell him Big C's is inviting him too.
All right, cool. You know him?
I am. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We partied at Club 11, so
all right. Turn up. There you go.
And Nick, who was your idol growing up in playing hockey when you were young?
My favorite player was probably Joe Sakic growing up, but my favorite tough guy was always Bob Probert. So I think a lot of guys are, like that. He was the toughest of all time. So yeah, definitely those two guys had an impact on me growing up.
Awesome. Uh, if you were still playing, if you were in the NHL, which fighter would you want to fight?
Me?
Um,
See, both of you, both of you.
I don't know.
all of them. Fuck, it doesn't matter.
Oh, there we go. Nice, nice. Ian, can you talk a little bit about the rules? How many rounds? How long? What kind of helmets they'll be wearing?
Yeah, so it's 3 1-minute rounds, and boxing rules. If you get dropped, if it's a noticeable knockdown, it'll be a 10 count, and there is no point scoring. Somebody's gonna win. There is no draws.
Okay.
Yep. So
and sorry, so just to touch on the helmets too. The helmets are basically shaped like a hockey helmet, and they're going to be kind of like a foam setup, so it'll be easier on the fighter's hands. That's one thing
Okay.
that we did kind of
yes,
improve
Yeah,
from
'cause I
last
was
time.
gonna say, because usually when you're fighting on the ice, a lot of the players do like try to take them off of them. So, yeah, that was kind of curious on that. So that's interesting. Let me see here. Got a couple other questions. Okay, so Ian, which fighter on this card are you most excited to see? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I mean, there's a handful of fights that I'm really excited for on this. So to say one for sure is tough. It's so cool to see Charles. I was there when he was just getting back on the ice. This dude got a coach, a skating coach. He's playing hockey every night. Like I see the techniques he's training. He's brought some of the best guys in. So that's really cool to see from UFC evolved into Ice Wars. Obviously, I'm excited to see Nick come back, and it's great to see him test himself. Fighters learn a lot about themselves when they test themselves, and they prove not only to themselves but the world who they are. So main event, I'm excited to see Will and Anthony Mendoza. I feel like these guys are just gonna brawl. The women's fight, there's a lot of fights that I'm excited for. So I can't pinpoint which one. I'm just excited to see this show in total because I know how much work this has taken to put this together. People don't realize all the little details it takes to put on a fight promotion.
Oh yeah.
And it has been nonstop working every day to do every little detail because this time it's going to be A+ production. It's going to be A+ experience. And, it's taken a lot of work. So I'm excited to see how the whole show goes. And I know the fighters are going to feel it when they walk in that arena, when they walk back in those locker rooms where the Florida Panthers are. They're going to feel that energy with a roaring crowd. And it's literally they're going from fighting in a bar or casino to walking out in the UFC. Like that's the type of walking out in a UFC type arena. So their energy is going to be incredible to see them take that. And some guys will fold under that pressure. And that's just part of the sport. That's
I'm kind of curious to see how the former MMA fighters go with, pro hockey players that ended up playing hockey. Because obviously you would think they would have the advantage, right? Being on the ice before. But then you got the MMA fighters, they got the skill of fighting. So, I mean, you kind of got both sides. So
you have to have both, in my opinion, because just from what we've seen, and so far, when we had the Battle of the Borders, the Canadians won it. Not by that much, but most of the American guys were MMA fighters. But balance is everything, and that's what made Nick and Will so successful. You watch these guys fights, they don't fall. And when you're falling on the ice over and over again, but then on the flip side of that, you have someone like Charles who has been in the pocket brawling before, and sometimes, some of these enforcers or hockey fighters, they're not used to the length of a fight. Charles is doing 15-minute fights, and hockey fights are usually 30 seconds. So when you get in that third round, you do, if as an MMA fighter, you do have the upper advantage, but it's like MMA. You can be the best striker in the world, but if you have holes in your grappling game, you will get exposed. And just like Ice Wars, if you can be an amazing fighter, but if you have holes in your skating, you're going to get exposed. If you have holes in your striking and fighting in the pocket, you'll get exposed. So that's what's exciting about this.
That's awesome. And real quick, before I let you guys go, question for each one of you guys: what is your favorite food arena? Ian.
Food arena?
Yeah, just in general.
Like favorite food type?
And if you're going to go watch a hockey game,
Oh, okay.
And you're in the arena, what's your go-to food?
Oh man.
You want some time to think about that? I'll jump right in.
Go
ahead, Nick. Yeah.
2 slices of the greasiest pizza you can find, boys. That's what's up.
Fucking go. Yeah.
All day, every day. I'm a pizza guy through and through.
What about you, Charles?
Yeah, man. I mean, usually it's tough to find food at an arena, so I kind of go with whatever they got. But I mean, yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if I can ever find a snow cone at a game, then I'm happy. So.
For me, bro, I'm a pizza snob. My uncle owns a New York pizza place, so I'm like very picky with my pizza. But I love pizza. But probably a hot dog, man. But I honestly, I don't eat that trash. I'll be real.
hey, I was gonna say hot dog, but I'm like, nah, dude.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a pinch, just full send it.
Awesome. A nice cold brewski, I think, works for everyone, right?
Yeah, get some popcorn or some Dippin' Dots, something like that.
There we go. Anyways, thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being on. I can't wait to see you guys a week from today. I'll be going on Saturday, so hopefully I'll be able to see you guys. And, thanks again, and let's get at it.
Yep. Thanks, Big C.
Right. Thanks for having us, buddy. We'll see you over there.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Later, guys.